15 to 30 miles per hour. Forecast low tonight at 12 degrees. Partly cloudy.
Good morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's great to have you along. We got a lot to get to this morning. We're going to talk about Donald Trump's executive order yesterday regarding transgenders in women's sports. So a lot to get to. And here we go.
A doctor of discernment is on the air.
I love the Greg Belfrage Show.
I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sound a little taller on radio. Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time. I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. This Thursday, February 6th, really great to have you along. So Donald Trump yesterday, drawing up an executive order protecting women's sports. And this was huge yesterday. Donald Trump signed the No Men in Women's Sports executive order in the East Room of the White House yesterday. And the NCAA responded to this pretty quickly yesterday. The president of the NCAA, and I kind of understand where the NCAA is coming from. They have had a patchwork of different laws in various states and so on, and it's become difficult. So now you got Donald Trump coming in with this executive order, no men in women's sports. And so the president of the NCAA, Charlie Baker, said, now we have a clear national standard, he said. So the NCAA Board of Governors will review it, take steps then in that direction. And their statement said that we strongly believe that clear, consistent, and uniform eligibility standards would best serve today's student athletes instead of a patchwork of conflicting state laws and court decisions. And they said to that end, President Trump's order provides a clear national standard. So they're going to be taking a look at it and reviewing it. And Trump was joined by Riley Gaines was there. She is one who has been out fighting very, very hard to protect, sports for women, natural born women and girls versus transgender athletes. And, and I'm listening to the reactions, yesterday and this morning, and a lot of it's predictable. And it's, somehow that transgenders can't compete. Who's saying that? Nobody's saying transgenders athletes cannot compete. If you are a man who has become a woman, you compete as a man. You do not compete as a woman. So the idea that somehow we're stopping these folks from competing, that is an outright distortion of what's actually taking place. So we've got to talk about this morning. This is a huge story. We'll get to your phone calls coming up this morning after 7, about an hour from now. Do you support the executive order? Do you believe allowing biological men then to compete in women's sports? Is that unfair? Some of the questions we're going to pose to you coming up a little bit later this morning. So now, in the wake of that, you have 3 former University of Pennsylvania women's swimmers. They are saying they suffered emotional trauma by having, you remember Leah Thomas, transgender swimmer, who was their teammate. And they're calling now for the Ivy League to expunge the records of Leah Thomas. And they filed a lawsuit on Tuesday. This was a day before Donald Trump signed the executive order then. So they all say that Harvard University, the NCAA, and the Ivy League School of Presidents harassed, abused, and violated federal laws when they allowed Leah Thomas to compete on their team. So now they're suing as a result of this. And again, they filed their lawsuit before Donald Trump. And again, I don't think this is unexpected. This is something that Donald Trump has talked about before. And is this something that you think there's pretty broad appeal? Do you think that there is? It certainly seems like there is. Like Democrat, Republican. This is one of those issues that just cuts through party lines. And you see a number of people who have been concerned about transgenders competing in and eliminating opportunities or taking opportunities that otherwise would have gone to girls and women. So do you see this as a victory? We're going to talk about it this morning coming up. We'll get to your phone calls again this morning after 7. Other big stories this morning. There were just a mass of stories about Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency. And we've got to talk about it. I mean, I'll run down some of the headlines this morning, a number of different places. So a major U.S. labor union has filed a request with a federal judge to prevent Elon Musk's Doge team from accessing the Department of Labor's systems. That's from Reuters. The Guardian, which is pretty left-wing. Doge's influence causes tensions within federal agencies. I find that really incredible because what a switch, right? Versus Americans who have a lot of tension, on a lot of issues. I mean, because I have had a lot during the Biden administration, that would have been the reverse. It would have been federal agencies that were all pretty nice and comfortable and American citizens who had their guts all in a knot, right? Well, now it's the other way around. And I'd be lying to you. Seriously, I would be lying if I didn't say that I wasn't enjoying that. Now, again, I'm not wishing ill to anybody, but I see some of the reactions, and it's just like, hey, my friend, welcome to reality. Yeah, I know you've been comfortably living in bizarro world. Welcome now to the real world. Yeah, where is it? I've got it here.
Welcome to real life.
There you go. Welcome to real life. So also, just a number of, here's the Times over in the UK. Elon Musk's baby-faced assassins leading the Doge efforts. Okay, these people are young, a lot of them, but they're smart, man. They are smart. They are. I wish I had that much. I wish I had that much on the ball now as some of these young people. It's just incredible to watch. So we have got to talk about this. ABC News had a story about a screaming match erupting among House lawmakers over a motion to subpoena Elon Musk on the House Oversight Committee. So it turned, ABC says it quickly turned into screaming and name calling as Elon Musk continues to dismantle government agencies, threaten workers with layoffs, and gain access to government data. Congressional Republicans Wednesday blocked Democratic efforts to compel him to answer for his actions under oath. Should he have to appear under oath? I mean, Democrats, they are frothing at the mouth, literally, over Elon Musk. And I think, again, Elon Musk is not doing anything. He's totally under Donald Trump's control. I mean, I don't see this any different than, let's say, Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is Donald Trump's choice for Secretary of State. You have Marco Rubio out there carrying out the vision of Donald Trump and doing so pretty, I think, I've been pretty impressed with him. You know, how is this any different? Donald Trump appoints Elon Musk to this. There are conversations. Trump is certainly aware. I don't know what reporting, is going on. But I assume there is. Certainly, it's all over the media. And Donald Trump, as he's being asked questions, and again, it's refreshing to see a president who's actually able to receive, process, and answer questions. I mean, there are those in the country, make no mistake, who don't like the answers, but pretty amazing to see a Donald Trump up there again and taking questions, and he is just hitting the left so hard and so fast on so many things. It's I feel a little bit like I told you yesterday. I wonder if Donald Trump has been replaced by an android because this guy is just, man, he's unstoppable. He's going all the time. I don't know when he sleeps. It's just absolutely amazing. So we've got to talk about that coming up this morning, because I'm curious, do you support what's going on in Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency? Also is appropriate for the Department of Government Efficiency to have the authority to shut down federal agencies such as USAID. That continues to be in the news. And you get reactions of some of these USAID employees. And I just listen, and again, it's like welcome to real life. They're out there and, we're having to take down these things at work, and we've got to hide them. And it's like, who is able to engage? So in other words, that is more like some private club where the club has got rules that run contrary to the federal government, right? Doing their own thing. I think Elon Musk is the perfect person to go into some place like that. Start pulling, opening up the drapes, letting the sunshine in, letting folks see what's going on. So we'll talk about that. That's just a huge story. Also, you had the new Secretary of the Treasury, this is Scott Bessent. He's reassuring Republican lawmakers earlier this week that Elon Musk and his team do not have control over that sensitive government system that manages the flow of payments and so on. Actually, it's trillions of dollars of payments. And so this was during a closed-door meeting earlier this week. Bessent met with Republican members of the House Financial Services Committee and reassured them. And Representative Andy Barr said exactly that. He said the meeting was very reassuring to Republicans. He said Treasury has control of the Treasury payment system. He said that Musk's DOGE team is focused on reviewing the process to make sure there's accountability, transparency, traceability, and making sure there's not lost payments, missing payments, hemorrhaging of taxpayer funds, that kind of thing. Also, there were some fireworks. Representative Nancy Mace, they were having a conversation, and this was during a House Oversight Committee to discuss right-sizing the U.S. government. And lawmakers brought up the billions of dollars in federal aid that's spent on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so at one point, Mace, who has been very outspoken about transgenders in women's sports, right? She, she had sought to ban trans people from using the preferred bathrooms that they want, so on. And this, the thing went sideways. And Jerry Connolly, who is a Virginia Gary Connolly, my apologies. He's a Democrat from Virginia. And he's asking the chairman of the committee, which is James Comer. So he's asking Chairman Comer, he said, the gentlelady has used a phrase that is considered a slur in the LGBTQ community and the transgender community. And at that point, May says, tranny, 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 interrupting Connolly. And he said, let me please finish without interruption. And she said, I don't really care. I apologize, but this is what it is. You want penises in women's bathrooms, and I'm not going to have it. No, thank you. It's disgusting. So Connolly then turns to Comer, and he said, to me, a slur is a slur. And here on the committee, a level of decorum requires us to consciously to avoid slurs. And so he asked for a parliamentary inquiry as to whether or not the use of that phrase is not, in fact, a violation of decorum. And so there was even a little bit of give and take between Comer and Mace, to which Comer finally said, I'm not up to date on my politically correct LGBTQ terminology. He said, we'll look into that and get back to you. I don't know what's offensive and what's not, and I kind of understand where Comer is coming from, is because those standards keep changing. But that was a big story this morning. I got a number of other big stories that I want to touch on for you briefly. Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs held their first full practices yesterday in New Orleans. So both teams are at full strength for this year's Super Bowl. Also, Department of Education staffers were told not to accept President Trump's resignation buyout before the February 6th deadline. It's today. So this is the offer, remember, aimed at reducing federal workers. Ask employees to resign by tonight. But some officials expressing concerns over potential shutdowns and benefits. Federal unions, Democratic attorneys general have warned that the buyout is a tactic to pressure employees into quitting. How does it pressure you into quitting if you don't want to quit? You're making an offer. How is that pressure? It's pressure. So much pressure. Also, other stories that are out there, those are from Straight Arrow News. Also, Doge canceling millions in government payouts. Did you know that the federal government has been paying Politico, left-leaning, left-wing Politico has been receiving millions in government payments? Doge has rooted that out. That, to me, is just crazy. Also, our new Attorney General, Pam Bondi, ordered federal funding to be cut off from all cities who hold the sanctuary status. She did this yesterday. So major cities with sanctuary laws include Chicago, New York City, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, San Diego. There are others. No more federal funding for any of these so-called sanctuary cities. under this from Pam Bondi. Also, Newsmax says a line of Mexican National Guard and Army trucks have been deployed. The first of their 10,000 National Guardsmen have been deployed to the U.S. border after Donald Trump's threats of tariffs against both Mexico and Canada. Also, the U.S. State Department Undersecretary of State Marco Rubio said yesterday that U.S. government vessels can now transit the Panama Canal without charge fees. That's a change. That's a big change. So now you've got U.S. government vessels able to transit the Panama Canal without having to pay a fee to Panama. And this will save the country millions of dollars a year that we had been paying to Panama for use of the canal that the United States built, which is just absolutely incredible. So, I mean, the amount of changes there, it's moving so rapidly that there are almost too much for me to be able to bring you up to speed on. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show at 627. Mostly clear and 11. It feels like 2 below. Coming up, we'll take a look at the news stories that are trending nationally. That's ahead on the Greg Belfrage Show.
Camp and Robbins, weekdays at 2. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, the Give You More Tire and Automotive Store.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Andersen picture and combination windows. Optimizing a beautiful view and light in the bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today. That's ABC Seamless.
At Bethany Homes, Sioux Falls, Brandon, and Meadows, we believe that our employees are our greatest asset. If you're ready to share your heart and skills, join our Bethany family and be rewarded. Apply on our careers page at mybethanyhome.org. Bethany is church-owned, faith-based, and spiritually guided.
It's time to taste pizzeria creations from 11 different eateries in the Sioux Empire and vote for your favorite pizza. The 2025 Pizza Battle is on February 3rd through the 28th, and bragging rights are on the line. Plus, a portion of the proceeds support local charities. Brought to you by these fine eateries: Invictus, Tomaselli's, Dario's, Marco's, Bosses, and Valentino's. The 2025 Pizza Battle. Taste all the pizzeria creations and vote for your favorite at Kello.com.
Coming up later this morning, Dave Scaturo, who is one of our sales, executives here at Kello Radio, who is he's been behind that Sioux Empire Pizza Battle, and he's going to be in here this morning at just after 8, and we're going to talk about that. And it's something fun, and our thanks to these pizza places. Some of them have been bringing pizza into the station, and I had I just had a small bite. Generally, I don't eat a lot of pizza because I would love to, but I love pizza. And I had a slice of the Tomaselli, one of the Tomasellis. Oh, really, really good. I'm like, oh, man. So you can cast your vote at Kello.com. Just look for the Pizza Battle logo at KELO.com, not Kelloland.com, KELO.com. Radio and television are separate entities. We have been for 25 years. And Joe Bowman's in the Kello.com News Center. Coming up, we'll visit with him. Sioux Falls family reported to be missing has been found safe. Also, a group of lawmakers in Pierre saying no to a measure geared toward making schools safer. So Joe will have details on those stories for you coming up here shortly. Yet currently in Sioux Falls, it's mostly clear and 11. It feels like 2 below at Kello.
Today's the last day for federal workers to take a buyout offer to resign.
There's 40,000 workers that have accepted that buyout. That represents about 2% of the federal workforce. The deadline is 1 minute before midnight tonight. And the Office of Personnel Management says workers who opt for the buyout will get paid through September without working.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. President Trump speaks at the National Prayer Breakfast in D.C. this morning.
It was founded in 1953 when President Dwight Eisenhower accepted an invitation to join members of Congress for the event. According to the National Prayer Breakfast Foundation's website, the event is an opportunity for members of Congress to pray collectively for the country, the president, and other national and international leaders.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. The president on Truth Social posts about his plan for Gaza. It would be turned over to the United States by Israel when the fighting there stops, and no American soldiers would be needed. America's listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. A Sioux Falls family reported to be missing has been found safe. Authorities say police in Michigan located all 4 members of the family. Sioux Falls police say the family was fine, but did not provide any further details. A report was made for Daniel Armstrong, Jordan Warmbeam, and their 2 children back on January 31st, when friends and family didn't hear from them for a week. A group of lawmakers in Pierre are saying no to a measure geared towards making schools safer. The House Education Committee yesterday voted 11-4 to send a $10 million school safety proposal to appropriations with a do not pass recommendation. The bill would create a 5-year school grant program to fund security upgrades. Supporters argue it's vital for student protection, while opponents cite budget concerns amid limited resources. The measure now moves to appropriations for a vote. Lawmakers in Pierre are wrestling with finding ways to support the expansion of Ellsworth Air Force Base, which will soon become home to the new B-21 Raider bomber. Here's Senator Helene Duhamel of Rapid City.
In addition, Ellsworth is the main training base, meaning that every B-21 crew member will train in South Dakota. This didn't happen by accident. It was hard work, investment, with an eye on the future.
Derek Johnson of the Bureau of Finance and Management is concerned about the future impact of one of the bills, which would divert construction excise taxes from Ellsworth projects to fund unexpected needs in coming years.
Senate Bill 16 creates a new fund for the support of Ellsworth Air Force Base, and all future contractors' excise tax collected from projects on the base would go to the newly created fund rather than the general fund.
Both bills were sent to the Joint Appropriations Committee, which is still waiting to see revenue projections for next year's budget. And in college basketball tonight, the Jackrabbits men's team hosts St. Thomas, and the Coyotes men's team take on Denver, while the women's team hosts Oral Roberts. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
After a wintry mix yesterday and last night, temperatures today recovering into the mid-30s, mostly sunny skies and a west wind at 15 to 30 miles per hour. Forecast low tonight at 12 degrees, partly cloudy skies. And then for tomorrow, blend of sun and clouds, highs in the upper 20s, areas of light snow Friday night. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm meteorologist Brian Karstens.
You're hearing the news and views you just can't hear anywhere else. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9 and Kello.com.
Today, a tip of the hat to the legendary Hollywood actress Sandra Bullock, who has put the world on notice. And in the process, she's done what many other celebrities should be doing. I'm Kim Commando for LinkedIn Jobs. Post job for free. Find qualified candidates quickly at linkedin.com/Kim. You'd think that the average person is too intelligent to believe that out of the clear blue, a major Hollywood celebrity has looked at their social media profile and somehow developed romantic feelings for them. Believe it or not, this is one of the top online scams. The gullible are being defrauded out of their life savings. Scammers use deepfake manipulated images of Bullock, Brad Pitt, Taylor Swift, Johnny Depp, and others to lure in lonely people. Over time, the fake celeb asks for, you guessed it, money. In an interview with People magazine, Bullock told the world that she is never on social media. She knows about the fake accounts. She's not looking for love, period. Get tech ahead with my free newsletter. Sign up right now at getkim.com. As a small business owner, you don't have the luxury of clocking out early. Your business is on your mind 24/7. So when you're hiring, You need a partner that grinds just as hard as you do. That hiring partner is LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates that you can manage all in one place. Their new feature can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people. Either post your job for free or pay to promote. Promoted jobs get 3 times more qualified applicants. At the end of the day, the most important thing to your small business is the quality of candidates. And with LinkedIn, you can feel confident that you're getting the best. Find out why more than 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Kim. That's linkedin.com/Kim to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Do it today. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, with 2 locations to make sure you have the proper traction this winter.
Revolutionize your home lighting with D&D Electric for as low as $600 using LED wafers.
Okay.
Places can light will provide bright and streamlined beauty. Visit d-deelectric.com today. We provide the power. How you use it is up to you.
Would you replace your windows if you could do it for 0% financing? The Window Shop with Mitchell, serving all of South Dakota, is offering 0% financing on their custom windows, doors, and siding. Call today for an estimate. 605-996-6777.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com. Show the coupon at the pharmacy and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
More happens in South Dakota every day than we can fit on one radio station, even Kello. That's why there's Kello.com.
With local stories, podcasts, and other exclusive content.
For more of South Dakota, go to Kello.com. Kello News Talk.
.638. It's mostly clear and 11. It feels like 2 below at Kello. Hey, if you're a fan of the Sioux Falls Stampede, even if you're not, if you've never been to a Sioux Falls Stampede game, you're going to have, I can almost guarantee that you will have a blast, especially coming up this Saturday night. It's Wiener Dog Night out of the Sioux Falls Stampede game. We have got links up for reduced tickets at KELO.com. That's KELO.com. And just scroll down to our quick links, and you'll see the reduced tickets then link right there. So reduced tickets then for this Saturday night. Get them while you can, because honestly, we don't expect them to last. It's the most well-attended Sioux Falls Stampede game of the season, generally of the year. So, and it's just an absolute blast. You watch I was out. Was it last year that I was out there? Maybe a year before. Within the last couple of years, I was out there again, and you watch those dogs run, and it's just absolutely amazing. And everybody's just having a great time. So if you want to go to KELO.com. And again, look for our quick links section. And I'll remind you again, because we still, KELOLAND TV and Kello Radio have been separately owned for over 25 years. But because we share those call letters, we've got folks that go to KELOLAND.com and they think that's us. That's not us. That's not KELO Radio. That is KELOLAND TV. That's their website, Kelloland. That they own that phrase, Kelloland. That's why you don't hear us saying Kelloland's best, or, they own that. So we respect that. We don't use it. But Kello Radio was, around before television. That's us. And Kello has been us, this is where it all started, baby. So just go to our website, KELO.com. Go to the quick links and get yourself some reduced tickets for this Saturday night's Sioux Falls Stampede game.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
I hate belaboring that point, but there's a lot of confusion. All right, stories that are trending this morning. The president signing an executive order banning biological males from competing in women's sports. And Donald Trump, as he signed this yesterday, said it was all about common sense. He said, "We will defend the proud tradition of female athletes. We will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women." And maybe you might be concerned about the terminology Trump used there when he's talking about allowing men to beat up. He's talking about boxing, talking about women who have gone in expecting to face other women and just wind up getting pummeled. I mean, we've seen this. And so Donald Trump has said, essentially, enough is enough. And under the executive order, schools receiving federal funding risk having their funds taken away if they allow biological males to participate in women's sports. He said, "I don't think we've missed anything, but if we do, we'll make it up very quickly with an order," he's saying. So with my action this afternoon, we're putting every school receiving taxpayer dollars on notice that if you let men take over women's sports teams or invade your locker rooms, you will be investigated for violations of Title IX and risk your federal funding. There will be no federal funding. So we'll talk about that in more detail coming up this morning after 7, and we'll get your thoughts on it coming up. So I'm very, very eager, especially to hear from women who are listening to the Greg Belfrage Show. I'm really, really curious to know what you think. So we'll open up the phone line, not to dismiss our male callers. I'm interested in your thoughts too, but especially women. What's your take on this yesterday? That's a big story this morning. Also, as we talked about Donald Trump and his Rebuild Gaza plan yesterday, there's a lot of reaction to that. Hamas is saying that Trump's plan to rebuild Gaza is a recipe for creating chaos. That's what Hamas is saying. So they call it a recipe for creating chaos and tension in the region. A senior Hamas official told Fox News yesterday what President Trump stated about his intention to displace the residents of the Gaza Strip outside it and the United States control over the Strip by force. It's not what he talked about. I mean, I want to make sure, you can't tell Hamas that, but I want to make sure you understand, not what Trump said. So they're saying it's a crime against humanity. And I thought, really? Really? We got Hamas lecturing the United States about crimes against humanity, huh? Pam Bondi was sworn in to lead the Justice Department yesterday. So she is now the U.S. Attorney General, sworn in. She is spending her first days, Fox says, dealing with a firestorm of reassignments, lawsuits, and resignations from senior law enforcement officials. despite some efforts to try to calm everybody down. So she was sworn in. Donald Trump praised Bondi after the ceremony. He said of Pam Bondi, she's unbelievably fair and unbelievably good. And he said she is someone who he believes will restore fair and impartial justice at the department. I know I'm supposed to say she's going to be totally impartial with respect to Democrats, and I think she will be as impartial as a person can be, Trump said. So Pam Bondi being sworn in yesterday. Also, a second federal judge has moved to block Donald Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship. So this happened yesterday. The judge said no court has yet sided with the administration on the issue. And just as an aside to you, I will say that's kind of what they expected. The effort here is to get this in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. So as long as courts keep saying no, we're on the path to U.S. Supreme Court. That was the end game. It was not to, with the executive order, it was fully understood that that executive order was going to be challenged. They knew that. I just want to make sure you're aware of that. So, Don, you see these stories, another judge has struck it down. That was the plan. That was the plan. Everything at this point going according to plan. Also, Scott Turner was confirmed yesterday as the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Also, Donald Trump being slapped with the first threat of impeachment. And I said on Facebook this morning, okay, for those of you who are playing Capital Chaos Bingo, check your cards. 50, those of you who had 15 who thought it would be 15 days before we saw the first threat of impeachment, you're winners. Congratulations. So this is Representative Al Green of Texas, and the movement to impeach the president has begun. Oh, wow. It's the same old playbook, man. Same old playbook. And the Democrats just they think they're going to win elections, and yet that's like a football team who's got the same playbook and keep getting their butts kicked, and they don't try any new plays. That's the Democrat Party. I mean, it's right back to the same old thing. They just cannot help themselves. It's just absolutely incredible. And here's Donald Trump, man, just plugging away, boom, boom, thing after thing. I mean, in 2 weeks, he has done more, little over 2 weeks now. What we have seen him do is just absolutely, it's got their head spinning. Also trending this morning, Newsmax says some immigrants that were arrested last week have been released back into the country on a monitoring program. NBC News reported this. So Donald Trump is testing the limits of his immigration crackdown. He invoked a wartime law to deport immigrants alleged to be gang members without court hearings. And so this is some of these folks they picked up arrests, picking up about at least 1,000 people a day. Some were sent back to their countries. But those who have not been deported, and that's been for a number of reasons, they have been released by ICE and placed on a monitoring program. And ICE is monitoring their whereabouts with ankle monitors or wristbands, or through telephone check-ins, depending. Also, this story from the Daily Mail this morning, Mexican drug cartels readying their plans to strike back at U.S. Border Patrol agents as Donald Trump steps up. And we have been talking about this. This is a story that's been out there for the last number of days. Still trending this morning. Also, Donald Trump saying on Tuesday he is in no hurry to talk to the president of China, Xi Jinping. We got a new trade war then between the two countries. And so they were supposed to meet. And Trump was asked about this and China's retaliation. And he said, that's fine. I don't think that was unexpected. But they have, as of yet, they have not spoken. Trump has, and he had been talking about that, about having a conversation with Xi Jinping. And because of these, the tariffs, they have yet to have spoken. Also, House Speaker Mike Johnson, according to Newsmax, forced to delay an initial vote on Donald Trump's legislative agenda. So Johnson and Republican leaders had expressed plans to start the legislative process this week by advancing a budget resolution out of committee. However, that vote will not take place this week. And the reason for the delay centers around Republican lawmakers debating how deep the spending cuts ought to be. This is a huge story. The FCC has released the unedited transcript and video that was finally handed over by CBS News of their 60 Minutes interview with then Vice President Kamala Harris. So there had been a lot of efforts that Donald Trump was suing CBS over this issue. There had been a lot of efforts to try to get this released. And so the FCC has released the unedited transcript and video. And so I went to X. I wanted to see what the reaction was. What's going on X? Do you remember Catherine Herridge? I think those who follow Fox News fairly closely will remember Catherine Herridge, who was a reporter at Fox. Well, then she left Fox and she went to CBS News. That's where Catherine Herridge is currently at. Catherine Herridge had a piece on X, and she said, I watched the full unedited video of the Kamala Harris interview, plus reviewed the full transcript as well as the segment that aired on CBS News. I would encourage everyone who cares about fact-driven journalism to do the same. And then she said 60 Minutes did Kamala Harris a favor in the edit room. Her lengthy word salad responses were heavily condensed into a final broadcast segment that felt succinct and presidential. I clocked one of Harris's answers at over 3 minutes. The full unedited interview was not especially probing, asking questions such as, why do you want to be president of the United States? That said, the video clip that spurred allegations of news distortion were not a journalistic foul, but an internal edit. The public can decide if the heavily edited interview broadcast on 60 Minutes distorted Harris's performance. A lot of people are saying exactly that. But I thought you might appreciate that analysis by Catherine Herridge of CBS News. Also, the trending this morning, the words "end racism" will not be featured in the back of end zones during the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. Instead, the phrases choose love, and it takes all of us, will be emblazoned in the end zone. How much are you moved by what they put in the end zones? That to me, it's like subliminal messaging. Oh, come to, you know. I don't know that I pay all that much attention to the end zone messages. I'm more wrapped up in the game. But that's me. Also, the Miami Heat has ended the drama over Jimmy Butler with a blockbuster trade to the Golden State Warriors. That story is also trending this morning. The Defense Department is developing plans to withdraw all U.S. troops from Syria, according to two U.S. officials. Also, a U.S. military aircraft carrying scores of undocumented Indian nationals landed in northern India yesterday, according to a Reuters video. It was about 100 then illegal immigrants who were on board. So you're seeing those deportations being carried out. Also, a Japan Airlines plane clipped a Delta Airlines jet while taxiing at Seattle Tacoma International Airport. No injuries, thankfully, but the right wing of this Japan Airlines flight struck the tail of the Delta flight while both planes were taxiing at the airport. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. 6:57, mostly clear and 11. It feels like 2 below at Kello. Thank you, my friend, for letting me join you. Please come back at 9:30 for the 4th hour, or catch it at your convenience later today, maybe late this afternoon, this evening. So thank you so much for letting me join you. Take care. Have a great day.